I've always been a bit of skeptic when it comes to online dating, but after my last breakup, I decided to give it a try. I created a profile on Tinder and started swiping. It wasn't long before I matched with a guy named Jack. He was tall, with messy brown hair and piercing blue eyes. We started chatting, and he seemed nice enough, so we decided to meet up for a drink. We agreed to meet at a bar downtown. When I arrived, Jack was already there, sitting at the bar. He looked even better in person than he did in his photos. We started chatting, and I found myself really enjoying his company. We had a lot in common, and the conversation flowed easily. After a few drinks, Jack suggested we go for a walk. I hesitated for a moment, but he seemed so charming and trustworthy that I decided to go along with it. We walked for a while, chatting and laughing, and before I knew it, we were in a quiet park. It was dark and quiet. The only sound was the rustling of leaves under our feet. I started to feel a bit uneasy, but I brushed it off. Jack suggested we sit on a bench, and we continued talking. That's when things started to get weird. Jack's demeanor changed suddenly. His eyes grew dark, and his smile disappeared. He started talking about how he had been watching me for a while, and how he knew everything about me. My heart started racing, and I tried to get up from the bench, but he grabbed my arm and pulled me back down. I tried to scream, but he covered my mouth with his hand. I struggled against him, but he was much stronger than me. He whispered in my ear, telling me how he was going to hurt me, and how no one would ever find me. I was terrified, and I didn't know what to do. Then suddenly I heard footsteps approaching. Jack let go of me and ran off into the darkness. I looked up and saw a police officer approaching me. He had heard my screams and came to investigate. I told him everything that had happened, and he took me back to the station. I gave a statement, and they started looking for Jack. It didn't take long for them to find him. He was a known criminal with a long history of violence against women. It's been a few weeks since that night, but I still can't get rid of fear. I thought I was careful when meeting Jack in a public place, but I was wrong. I learned that you can never be too careful when it comes to online dating. I deleted my Tinder account and have decided to stay single for a while. Looking back, I can't believe how lucky I was to have been found by the police officer. If he hadn't come along when he did, I might not be here to tell this story. I never thought I'd be the victim of a Tinder horror story, but that's exactly what happened to me. It all started when I was matched with a girl named Sarah. She seemed normal enough, and we hit it off right away. We talked for a few days and decided to meet up for a date. I suggested we meet at the local bar, and she agreed. I arrived early and ordered a drink to calm my nerves. When Sarah came, she looked just like her pictures. We started talking, and things were going well. We had a lot in common and seemed to have good chemistry. Sarah and I had a few drinks at the bar, and she invited me to her place. I accepted, and we started walking toward her apartment. However, a sense of discomfort crept over me as we walked. Something about Sarah felt wrong, but I couldn't understand what exactly it was. When we arrived at her apartment, I immediately noticed that it was dark and cluttered. There were piles of clothes and empty pizza boxes everywhere. I tried to ignore it and focus on Sarah, but I couldn't get over the feeling that something wasn't right. As we sat on her couch, Sarah started to act strange. She kept fidgeting and looking around the room, as if she was expecting someone to burst in at any moment. I asked her if she was okay, but she just brushed it off and told me she was fine. That's when things took a turn for the worse. Sarah suddenly grabbed my arm and whispered, "Don't move." I froze, unsure of what to do. That's when I heard the sound of footsteps coming from outside the apartment. Sarah looked terrified, and I could feel my heart pounding in my chest. I tried to get up and leave, but she held me down and whispered, "You can't leave. He'll find you." I didn't know what she was talking about, but I knew I had to get out of there. I managed to break free from her grip and ran towards the door. That's when I saw him. Standing in the doorway was a tall, menacing figure. He had a twisted grin on his face and was holding a knife. I didn't wait to see what he would do next. I pushed past him and ran down the hallway. I made it outside and didn't stop running until I was several blocks away. I called the police and reported what had happened. Still, after a long investigation, they never found Sarah or the man who attacked me. To this day, I still don't know what Sarah's true intentions were or who that man was. All I know is that I'll never use Tinder again. I had been single for a while and decided to give Tinder a try. After swiping through countless profiles, I matched with a girl named Rachel. She was cute and seemed nice, so we started chatting. We hit it off pretty quickly and decided to meet at a bar in town. When I arrived, I saw her sitting at the table, looking just as beautiful as her pictures. We ordered drinks and talked for a while, laughing and getting to know each other. As the night went on, things started to get hazy. I didn't remember much, but I know that Rachel and I ended up going to my place. That's when things took a dark turn. I woke up the next morning to find all my valuables were missing. My wallet, phone, and laptop were all gone. But that wasn't the worst part. I soon realized that I had been drugged and robbed by Rachel. I felt violated and scared. I didn't know what to do or who to turn to. I thought about calling the police, but hesitating initially as I felt ashamed of how she had tricked me. I felt totally helpless. Days went by and I didn't hear anything from Rachel. But then out of the blue, she messaged me on Tinder. I couldn't believe it. I was furious and scared at the same time. I didn't know what she wanted or what she was capable of. She demanded that I give her more money or else she would release intimate pictures and videos of us online. I felt sick to my stomach. I couldn't believe that this was happening to me. I attempted to convince her, but she remained obstinate. She was ruthless and cold, like a predator stalking her prey. I felt like I was in a horror movie, trapped and alone. Eventually, I decided to take matters into my own hands. I knew I couldn't let Rachel get away with what she had done to me, so I came up with a plan. I agreed to meet Rachel at the local park, where I told her I would give her the money she wanted. But when she showed up, I was ready. I called the police, and they were the ones who told me to accept the meeting so they could arrest her. They were waiting nearby. When I saw her, I signaled it to the police, and they came rushing in. Rachel tried to run, but she was quickly arrested. She was charged with theft and extortion, and I finally got some justice. But the experience had left its mark on me. I couldn't trust anyone anymore, especially not strangers on dating apps. I felt like I had lost a part of myself that I would never get back. Looking back, I can't believe I fell for Rachel's charms. But that's the thing about horror stories. They're always scarier when they're real. Thank you for listening to our story. We hope it gave you a good scare. If you like it, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more spooky stories like this one.